and welcome to Exploring Ethiopia, our weekly program where we focus on tourist destination sites, historical places in the country. In today's first episode, we will highlight you about the historical Addis Alem Maryam church found at the outskirts of Addis Ababa. Stay tuned. Driving 42 kilometers away from the capital Addis Ababa to West Shore, we found the Debre Zion Church of St. Mary and the respective historical museum at Addis Alem. Originally, the current church was built as the main palace for Menelik II. Later, this building was converted into a church following Emperor Menelik II's decision not to move the capital from Addis Ababa to Addis Alem. The church and sanctuary are decorated with an amazing variety of interesting paintings depicting wildlife, biblical scenes, and various Ethiopian rulers. Near the church, a museum contains the clothes and decorations of several former rulers and their families. And south of the church compound is the restored part-time residence of Menelik. Below this building, there is a large elliptic former dining hall which is called Geberbet in Amharic. Hello all. Exploring Ethiopia, our weekly program only on ETV English language channel. Today, driving less than 1 hour from capital Addis Ababa, we have arrived here at Addis Alem Maryam Church, which is historical church and a museum available here around 42 kilometers away from Addis Ababa, found in the western shore. This church is very historical and religious because Emperor Menelik II built the church first, assuming for the Grand Palace. Next, it became like a St. Mary Church. We are going to look at various things here at Addis Alem Maryam Church and Addis Alem Museum. For that, I am joined by my curator, Amara Getown. He's going to tell us about the details about the church, what is there inside the church, and so on and so forth. We will also see the details in the museum. Please do stay with us. I am Wagayo Mulana, and this is Exploring Ethiopia. Thank you very much once again. Well, Amara, first of all, thank you for joining us.
Welcome to you.
All right. Now we are at Addis Alem Maryam Church. First of all, before we go to the museum, could you please tell us details or descriptions about the church?
Yes, of course. Originally, the place was owned by a lord called Changere. Later on, Menelik used to travel to Meta region. There at the top highland, they saw the place, this place very strategic, and wanted to build his own palace here. So he made an agreement with Changere, and he gave him extra land as a compensation for this place. And Changere left the place for Emperor Menelik, and Emperor Menelik started building his palace in 1992. You see, the church is rectangular. No church in Ethiopian Orthodox Church is built rectangularly. It is rectangular because it was originally designed to be a palace. No church again in Ethiopian Orthodox Church is having pictures like this, the lions and the tigers. The lions and the tigers indicate that Emperor Menelik was the king of kings. As you see there, the lions, two lions have their own crown, and then the two are combined into another crown. This means Emperor Menelik, he was the king of kings. That's the point originally. Later on, a monk told him, this should not belong to you. It has to be the Church of St. Mary. He accepted the idea, and he left the place for St. Mary Church, and he built his own palace down there. We'll see the palace later on.
All right, that's great. Like I have heard, besides the churches, the church accommodates like various sculptures, pictures, monuments, and artifacts. That's what we are going to see together inside. You are going to tell us description about these sculptures and the pictures for our audience.
This is possible. We'll go inside and see the pictures. Of course, the internal part is divided into three parts: the Qene Mahalet, and the Maqdas, and Qudus Qudusan. There in the Qene Mahalet, the place is already reserved for clergies to make prayers and songs. And there in the Qudus, his flesh and blood is served. There in Qudus Qudusan, priests and deacons are going to make their own prayers according to the Ethiopian Orthodox rules and regulations.
Right. Well, viewers, we are going to look at very descriptions and the details about the sculptures and the pictures inside the St. Mary Church here at Addis Alem Maryam. Please do stay with us and follow us. Once again, this is Exploring Ethiopia.
የአዲስ ዓለም ርዕሰ አድባራት ወገዳማት ደብረ ጽዮን ማርያም ቤተክርስቲያን
Addis Alem Museum, its full name being Re'ese Adbarat Wegedamat Addis Alem Dagmawit Tzion Maryam Palace and Museum, was built in 1891-92 by Emperor Menelik II. The place is strategic and found in the mountain the emperor and built the palace. Later, following the initiation raised from Empress Taitu, the idea to convert the palace to museum, Emperor Menelik converted the palace to church and built another near the church now serving as the museum. The emperor brought up the Ark of the Covenant from around Ankober and built the church, resumed its religious activities with more than 600 religious servants. As you can see, the church is unique from other churches in Ethiopia in its shape. This rectangular church is unique as it can accommodate another 600 clergies to undertake hymns. The church is unique from other churches in Ethiopia, being historic and serving more than 18 religious activities.
ስለዚህ በኢትዮጵያ ደረጃ ለየት የሚያደርጋት ታሪካዊ ናት የሚያስብላት ከዚህ አንፃር ነው።
This is the internal part of the church, and it is divided into three parts. The first one is this one, which we call it Qene Mahalet. In the Qene Mahalet, priests and other clergies are going to give songs and prayers in the middle of the night, even at the daytime. The second part is that one, and we call it Amdawark. This is prayers are served, his flesh and blood. There, the rectangular part is called Qudus. Internally, it is a sacred place. The only people who are going to enter there are priests and deacons. As you see, there are a lot of pictures. These pictures are based on the Old Testament and the New Testament. The wall is drawn with pictures. The person who drew the pictures is this one. And this is his own son. He had a gun with him because they used to travel around the forest to find different kinds of leaves for the purpose of making the pictures. The pictures are already drawn from natural materials. As you see, it is based on the Old Testament and the New Testament. For example, at the top you see Aragawi Simon carrying our Lord. And there, at the end, Christ was crucified and he was buried. Finally, he regained his life by himself.
ቤተ ክርስቲያኒቱ በራሷ የቱሪስት መስህብ ናት።
The church by itself is tourist destination site. Tourists drawn from different parts of the world applaud the religious services, the indoor and outdoor, the architecture of the church, among others. The whole parts of the church was built with local materials, including the corrugated iron. These features are liked by tourists during their visit. The painting and pictures drawn by the then elites are astonishing. The wisdom they had used at the time caught the attention of visitors. Our forefathers had built such a state-of-the-art building during the time where technologies weren't available. Thus, especially foreign tourists who paid a visit to this area hailed the knowledge and wisdom of our forefathers. In addition, the museum accommodates various religious robes, emblems of previous kings and officials, brana or parchment-written manuscripts, crosses, pictures, books, letters, coins, firearms, and various household and personal items of historical value donated by prominent personalities that became tourist attraction sites. In general, the idea behind was to preserve and promote past historical relics both of religious and political leaders, inculcate the sense of patriotism in the younger generation, and encourage government to support similar efforts.
ይሄ ታሪካዊነቷን ልዩ ያደርገዋል ማለት ነው።
We see a historical picture at the bottom of the door. There is a vehicle called Turkish Babur. It was the first vehicle in the reign of Emperor Menelik. Although he was not successful, he had tried to travel from Addis Ababa to Addis Alem using this vehicle, but on the road, on the way, it failed and it was broken. And these days in Addis Ababa, it is called Sabara Babur, the place. There we see the pictures of Menelik and his lords and Prince Aitu while they were serving the people with ceremonies. These are the points we have. finally he was crucified and he was taken off from the cross and then taken to the burial place, and he was buried. Finally, he regained his life after 3 days. He regained his life by himself. At the beginning, the floor of the church was built and called Karkaha, but later on, for the sake of convenience, it has been changed into cement, like this one. There, at the bottom of the wall, you see the pictures of his disciples, 12 disciples, how they sacrificed themselves at the end. All of them end with sacrification like him. For example, we see here Matthias, where his head is taken off by opposers. And here again, Philippus has been hung down on a tree. And there we see Andreas Hawaria being beaten by stones, where he is tied with a log. And there Paulus lost his life by his head taken off with a sword.
እንግዲህ በመጨረሻ ማስተላልፈው መልእክት አባቶች ይህን ሰርተው አልፈዋል። ታሪክ ለኛ ሰጥተዋል።
Currently, the church isn't rendering its routine religious services for religious followers due to budget deficiency. Though the church is registered as heritage of the nation by government's culture and heritage authority, much attention isn't given from both sides of the government body and the Senate as well. I therefore call upon the concerned body to give due attention and preserve the heritage for the upcoming generation. I also call upon visitors who came to Ethiopia to pay a visit to this historic place found on the outskirts of Addis Ababa and grasp knowledge and experiences of the past Ethiopia.
ከመንግስት አንጻርም ልዩ ትኩረት ተሰጥቷቸው በልዩ ጥበቃ ቢጠበቁ ከኛ አቅም በላይ እንዳይሆን በልዩ ጥበቃ ቢጠበቁ መልእክቴን አስተላልፋለሁ።